So we continue studying this chapter 10 of the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, of course. So we continue witnessing the great feelings of the devotees. Of course, these are feelings of pain because of the imminent separation from Krishna. At the same time, this is for us to learn about the intensity of their love. Srila Prabhupada explained that the goal of all religions is love for God. And then we can actually evaluate a system of religion by how much that love is developed. It's a practical, tangible test. So we can see the Srimad Bhagavatam is displaying, exhibiting, explaining the love of the devotees. Here we see the devotees in Hastinapura had a lot of love. So today we study text number 14. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Nyarundhan Udgalad Bhashpam Autkantya Devaki Sute Nirayatyagaram no Niryatyagaram no Bhadram Iti Syad Bandhavastriya. Vaishnavis. Nyarundham checking with great difficulty. Udgalat, overflowing. Bashpam, tears. Kaunteya, because of great anxiety. Devaki Sute, unto the son of Devaki. Niryati, having come out. Agarat, from the palace. Naha, not. Avadram, inauspiciousness. Iti, thus. Syat, may happen. Bandhava, relatives. Striyaha, ladies. Translation. The female relatives whose eyes were flooded with tears out of anxiety for Krishna came out of the palace. They could not stop their tears. They could stop their tears only with great difficulty. They feared that tears would cause misfortune at the time of departure. Purport by Srila Prabhupada, there were hundreds of ladies in the palace of Hastinapura. All of them were affectionate to Krishna. All of them were relatives also. When they saw that Krishna was going away from the palace for his native place, they were very anxious for him. And as usual, tears began to roll down their cheeks. They thought at the same time that tears at that moment might be a cause of misfortune for Krishna. Therefore, they wanted to check them. This was very difficult for them because the tears could not be checked. Therefore, they smeared their tears in their eyes, and their hearts throbbed. Therefore, ladies who were the wives and daughters-in-law of those who died in the battlefield never came in direct contact with Krishna, but all of them heard of him and his great activities, and thus they thought of him, talked of him, his name, fame, etc., and became affectionate also, like those who were in direct contact. Therefore, directly or indirectly, anyone who thinks of Krishna, talks of Krishna, or worships Krishna, becomes attached to him. Because Krishna is absolute, there is no difference between his name, form, quality, etc. Our intimate relation with Krishna can be confidentially revived by our talking of, hearing of, or remembering him. It is so done due to spiritual potency. Omagati Vrandasya Granjana Sadakaya Chakshuru Meditamina Tasmai Shri Gurave Namo Navishapdaya Krishna Saha Namo Vishabdaya Krishna Vestaya Budre Shimati Bhakti Vedanta Swamini Tinamine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desha Tarine Vanshakalpatarubhischa Kripa Sindhuvevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. So basically everything we do in Krishna consciousness, the movement, it's for two things. One is to reawaken this sentiments, these feelings, these emotions for Krishna. And of course, while we're working on ourselves and our attraction, we also serve the mission of Panchatattva, which is to reawaken also other souls, to connect other souls. But ultimately, we need to remember that all our efforts in building a temples or buying a property, or then we are in the process here of renewing and expanding the property, and all that's going on in the kitchen. This lecture goes into the kitchen. Thank you very much, devotees in the kitchen. So everything we do, washing clothes and so on and so forth, serving the deities, is to reawaken this love. Once I was in, it was at the GBC college, and I asked, okay, what is the meaning of sadhana? Sadhana bhakti. We always talk about sadhana. And devotees started saying all sorts of things, all correct to some extent. They were saying, well, sadhana is the morning program. Sadhana is Shravanam Kirtan, hearing and chanting. Shravana is chanting one's rounds. Now, and I kept saying, no, but I want the technical definition of what is sadhana bhakti. What is sadhana bhakti? According to Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, according to Srila Rupa Goswami. And somehow, almost nobody, even there were some senior devotees, almost nobody could get. Finally, one lady from Argentina, she perfectly quoted the definition. Sadhana bhakti is what brings us to bhava bhakti. That's the definition. There are 3 stages of bhakti: sadhana bhakti, bhava bhakti, and prema bhakti. Sadhana is what in the Bhagavad Gita is Krishna used the word abhyasa, practice. And Srila Rupa Goswami explains that sadhana bhakti, especially Vaidhi bhakti, means engaging the senses and the mind according to the instructions of Shastra and the instructions of the spiritual master, out of duty, especially once we take the vows, the vratas of initiation, then we need to do what we have promised to do, like chanting 1,728 times a day, Hare Krišna Maha Mantra. Thank you. It's warm. Where was kept? Where was he kept? On the heater. So, because the tendency is to become mechanical, meaning we practice but without having very clear idea of what we are practicing. It's like sometimes children in the car, the family is going somewhere. Maybe he's going from Ljubljana to the sea, to Koper, Isola, or those places. And the children are really not aware where they're going. The parents, they say, okay, let's go. They go, especially small children. They don't know where they're going, but you know, the whole families going, they also go. Even the dog goes, but also the dog doesn't really know. I mean, maybe he knows if he's been many times that side. But the point is that we may tend to forget the goal. And the goal is feelings. Bhava means ecstasy is the preliminary aspect of prema. It is said that prema is compared when the full sun of love is raised in the sky, and bhava is when the first rays of the sun are manifest. And where are manifest? In the heart. Everything happens in the heart. Consciousness is in the heart. Thinking is in the heart. Feeling is in the heart. And now the heart is full of also other things that block these feelings. Sometimes what we call anarthas. Anarthas means unwanted things. Anartha. Artha means a gain. Anartha, something that doesn't bring any gain, or rather something that blocks advancement, blocks achievement. Sometimes in the heart there are ghosts, and we become sometimes influenced by subtle entities. Some subtle entities are more powerful, some are just there for the ride, so they can eat some prasad. Sometimes devotees ask, no, but we chant Hare Krišna, how can there be ghosts? But some ghosts like Hare Krišna. It's not that all ghosts are especially demoniac. Some are very demoniac, they make a lot of disturbance. But some they like kirtan, they like bhajan, they like prasadam, they like charanamrit. So they're inside the body, they don't have senses, and so they enjoy. They're going for a free ride. And they also make advancement. But of course, when they become disturbing, we should get rid of them, obviously. So I want to stress this point, that ultimately all we are doing is to become emotional. Now, not emotional in the mental sense, but emotional in the spirit sense. See, there are material emotions in the mind, and there are spiritual emotion in the soul. The soul, by nature, is very emotional. And when it's pure, when the soul is pure, has got this emotion for Krishna. And here, see, this chapter is very powerful because it's like a panoramic view of the feelings of the devotees. And we see different types of devotees. Here, this verse is especially important for us because because Srila Prabhupada said the ladies, all these ladies, never came direct contact with Krishna. They're not like those close associates. This is where the wives say of Duryodhan and his 99 brothers and daughters-in-law. So they were. See, they say there are hundreds of ladies in the palace. Hundreds of ladies, some grandmothers, some aunties, some wives, some daughters-in-law. And of course, at that time, ladies would not mix in the street, in the market. So they were in the palace. So they did not interact with Krishna. And Srila Prabhupada say, but they were always absorbed. Heard about him, they heard about him and his great activities, and then they thought of him, talk of him, his name, fame, etc., and became affectionate also, like those who were in direct contact. So this is very relevant for us because we see different manifestations of Krishna, but we may not see Krishna personally in his original Satchitananda form. So, even we have a lot of, we could say, facilities. Like, for instance, in this temple room, you see so many pictures of Krishna. At the same time, we need to also remember realistically that these paintings are approximation. They give us an idea of Krishna, but when you see Krishna in person, of course there is all a different vibration. When you see Krishna eyes directly, or his glance, or just a moving of a eyebrow, of course the painting does not give that. Also the color, it's an approximation. And of course the artists, they did the best they could based on the scripture, so we can take these expressions as authorized, but we need to understand that Krishna is much more. Even the deities, of course, the deities are Krishna, and the sculptures, the ones who make the sculpture, they are trying their best. At the same time, it takes also spiritual eyes. The deities, being personal, they can give spiritual eyes according to our dedication, our effort, our devotion. That's why when we come in front of the deities, different devotees have different experiences. Because different devotees are receptive in different ways, and also the deities, being personal, reveal themselves more to a devotee, and they reveal less to other devotees. Just like the holy name. The holy name is Krishna, but some people only get the syllables of the holy name. So it is the holy name, but it's still distant from the full expression of the holy name. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, in his Godruma Kalpatavi, explains that this whole movement of Lord Chaitanya is the Namahata. Now, in the West, when we use the word Namahata, generally we mean a program, maybe regular program in a house. Or we have a Namahata program, a house program. But in the conception of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, the whole movement of Lord Chaitanya, with all the temples, with all the dhams, with all the devotees of all types of devotees, that's the market of the holy name, the Namahata. And he says that there is only one product, only one good that is sold, and that is the holy name. But there are different prices, and he gives the analogy with the coins that they were there used in West Bengal. Now I don't remember, but you could say for instance, if you have only €1, you get this much holy name. You get the holy name. If you have, say, €50, you get the holy name and you get the form. So in other words, you can chant and remember the form. So it's not just the syllables, but it's also the form. So if you have, say, €100, and don't take it literally this proportions, but say if you have €100, you have the holy name, the form, and the qualities. So our meditation becomes more interesting. It's not just the form. The form is already attractive, but when you think of the qualities of that person, then you start feeling something about the person. And then, when you have €500, you also get the pastimes. So, Nama, Rupa, Guna. just like we sing in the morning. What we sing in the morning? Shiradika Madhava Yor Apara Madhurya Lila Guna Rupa Namna. That's like in the other order. Huh? Madhurya Lila Guna Rupa Namna. But otherwise, the order, sequential order is the other one. Nama, Rupa, Guna, Lila. And then Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur says that when you have €1 billion, it's not, again, more money, then you can purchase even the holy name with leelas which are not even described in Shastra. Because the first level is leelas that they are described in the Shastra. Like we read Krishna book, we read Bhagavatam, and by chanting we could remember them spontaneously. But there are also leelas which are not all the leelas are described in scriptures. Otherwise, we'll have to be unlimited books, because there is a leela every moment, every exchange, every word, every glance. So you also get the leelas which are not necessarily revealed in the scripture. So this is the opposite. Sometimes, I don't know, do you have in Slovenia those shops that everything costs €1 or two? Okay. So it's the opposite. In those shops, there are many things, and they all have the same price. In the market of the holy name, there is only one there is only one item. That's the holy name, but with different prices. So, and the price is the increase of faith. Increase of faith, increase of affection, of attraction. Therefore, Srila Rupa Goswami says, oh, I wish to have hundreds and thousands of mouths, because this holy name is so sweet. One mouth is not enough. And I would like to have hundreds and thousands of ears so that I could hear more fully. Now, these 2 holes in the head is not really so enough like that. So basically that's the idea. All we are doing, the efforts, the showers, the this and that, putting tilak, ultimately they need to help us reawaken this feeling. That's what Srila Prabhupada, that would make Srila Prabhupada happy, that we love Krishna, ultimately. That's the fundamental fact. Okay, I'll stop here. If anyone has a reflection, a comment, or even a question. Yes.
Thank you for the nice lecture. I have a question regarding sadhana. You gave the definition of sadhana, that this is this activity which has to bring about bhava. So my question is, many times it happens that devotees, practitioners, we are trying to perform our sadhana, but the emotion does not come. It may stay dry. So if you would want to speak a little bit about this. Why is this, how is this, and how to go about it to overcome?
See, I would say a couple of things. I mean, I'm sure you heard many times the answer that that's due to offenses. That's the standard answer, no aparadha. See, aparadha, what does it mean, aparadha? It's offenses, yes, that's the what do you call, the standard translation. Aparadha. Apa aradha. Aradha means aradhana. Aradhana means worship. and of course comes from Srimati Radharani, who is the highest worshipper of all. So we do our Haradhana, and that's also in the morning. What's that? That's also in the Guru Vastakam. Shivigraha Radhana Nityanana. Shivigraha, the Murti, Aradhana, right? Of course, that's the form of worship, but the whole thing is Aradhana. I mean, the whole thing is service to Krishna, is worship to Krishna, is adoration of Krishna. So, Apa means against. So anything which is against Aradhana is called Aparada. And there could be many forms of obstacles or things which are against. One thing, the second thing I would like to stress is that sadhana does not stop as at 9 o'clock. Or if you include prasada, 9:30. In other words, a sadhaka is a sadhaka 24 hours. Of course, when they sleep, we don't have much control to what we dream. But because sadhana, see, there are three words. Sadhana, sadhya, and sadhaka. Sadhya means the goal. Sadhya sometimes is used to also as prayojana, is the synonym. So sadhya is what we are trying to achieve, the objective. And we could say bhava. Bhava is our objective. Bhava is our sadhya. Bhava, prema, eventually. So what is our sadhya? Bhava. What is our sadhana? Of course, the Acharya, Srila Prabhupada especially, gave us certain practice. And then the sadhaka is the one who practiced that. The sadhana. It's interesting, just like one who practiced karate is called karateka. So similarly, sadhaka is one who practiced sadhana. Anyway, forget about the last comment. So we need to understand all parts of the journey are part of the journey. Like for instance, if you take a train, okay, you got to, in one sense, okay, you pack your bags, then you go to the station, then you wait there, then you get into your seat, then you get to your destination. But then you get to the station, you get out of the station, then I don't know where you're going, but you may need to take a taxi, or you may need to walk, or maybe a friend comes and picks you up. So all the parts of the journey are part of the journey. You cannot just say, well, no, only when I'm on the train, exactly when I'm already sitting in the seat in the train, and then that's a trip. That's a trip. No, the trip starts. Everything part of the trip is part of the journey. So similarly, we need to remember that all day we are sadhakas, if we are serious, if we are really thinking of an objective. And sometimes the most difficult aspect of sadhana is when we are not chanting, or when we are not worshipping, or when we are not speaking. Like for me, this is the easiest part of my day, right? Because until for the next 5 minutes, I had to at least pretend to be Krishna conscious, right? So, see, I cannot do anything wrong because you're all here looking at me. The problem starts at 9 o'clock. That's where the problem starts, because then I have choices. How many scoops of khichdi I'll take? I need only one, but maybe I'll take 3 or 4. So already may not be an aparad officially, May not be officially, oh, you're doing aparat. But it may actually affect me. Because with one scoop of khichdi, I can stay maybe all morning. With 3 or 4, I need to go to sleep. So when I'm chanting Hare Krishna, in one sense it's easy. Of course, I need to concentrate, I need to pronounce nicely. But it's easier because it's simple. There is a japa, there is a hand, and simple. The problem or the obstacles is when I deal with other devotees. Because other devotees, they have their own mind. My japa doesn't have its own mind. If I chant, it goes on, it goes around, it keeps going. When I pull out a what do you call, a bead from the Shakshimala. Shakshimala is called. You like Shakshimala? Shakshimala is the counting beads. It's called Shakshimala. In Bengal, they call it Sakhimala. Sakhi means witness. Because these beads witness how many chant. How many rounds. That's the name, Sakshimala. So, because they witness how many rounds you chanted. So, that's easy. The difficulty is when we have interactions. Because interactions are unpredictable. What devotees do, devotees or non-devotees, when other people do, it's unpredictable. We cannot control like we control the japa or the book. The book I read, I open, okay, I read. There's no, if I came to the point of reading the book, it's easy. But devotees may say this, may say that. Sometime may never happen here in Slovenia, but sometimes devotees even criticize us. And so they disturb our mind. And even non-practitioners, everything a sadhaka does is part of a sadhana. And everything we do can augment, support, facilitate, be conducive to our march towards bhava, or could be a diversion, distraction, an obstacle, a hurdle, anything, any interaction with anybody. Anything can be a step ahead or a step back or just neutral or something stagnant, which is also kind of negative. And plus there are the temptations, no? Distractions of different types. So this I would like to emphasize, that sadhana is not just, okay, I chanted my 16 rounds, I did my reading, or I attended the Bhagavatam class, or I did my worship at home or in the temple, and I did this, that. Okay, I tick all the boxes. Japa, done. Done. I did my slide, done. I did my preaching, done. That's part of it, and is the most powerful part of it, because it's directly in touch with Krishna. But all the rest of the day is also sadhana. So sometimes we may become a little lax or distracted. And sometimes, even your question is why we don't have emotions. Well, because they're covered by so many other things. Sometimes consciously, meaning, okay, I'm chanting, but I'm thinking something else, what I have to do today. And this is an offense because Krishna as a person is appearing in the holy name, and we are giving attention to something else. It may not be a big offense, but Krishna is a person. So when you call him, it's like, imagine I call a devotee, we have an appointment, okay, let's sit together in the reception, and then I'm on my phone. At one point he feels, look, you call me, and then you're on your phone or on your computer. Everything is very personal. So when we relate to the holy name, it's not just a name somewhere, it's Krishna. Just like if I say someone's name, people feel, oh, they called it. No. Say, Ananta Prabhu, see, he's looking, he's looking at me. So if I say, Hare Krishna, Krishna is there, but then if I give attention to something else. So there are many, many forms of aparada, meaning things which are not conducive. And especially how we deal with devotees, because devotees are very dear to Krishna, and so if we don't act properly with devotees, then Krishna is not happy with us. Just like here in Tivoli, you see so many people walk dogs, and these dogs are very dear to them. In fact, this morning after Mangalarti, we went there at 5:30. Already people are walking their dogs. It means for them, yeah, sure, it's an austerity, but they love these little fur balls, and so they do this austerity. So if you imagine you go there and you kick the dog, that's the best way to make an enemy. Two enemies. One is the dog and one is the dog and one is the owner of the dog. But if you go there and pat the dog, so nice, so cute, take a biscuit. You can see that the owner smiles. So we are dogs of Krishna. We are dogs of the spiritual master. This is symbolize our what do you call? Collar. The collar. Unfortunately, there is no leash. So it would be nice to have also a leash. But we have the collar. And in fact, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur say, Vaishnava Thakur, Ami Tomar Kukur. He says, Vaishnava Thakur, Ami, I, Tomar, your kukur. Kukur means dog. So the analogy is bona fide. So just so see, if we see that I'm not trying to encourage you to think of devotees as dogs, but in a divine symbolic way. So we are dogs of Krishna, dogs of the spiritual masters, and if we disrespect the dogs, the pets, then we become the owner will become very, very displeased, like that. I don't know if it was any help. So, should we stop here, or is any other comment or reflections? Even a question. What? What are you indicating?
Danes, ko sem se pripravljala na to predavanje, sem brala Srimad Bhagavatam.
So today when I was getting ready for this lecture, I was reading Srimad Bhagavatam. And I said, oh my God, these women all, they had feelings and they cried for Krishna. So when will this happen to me? So then I remembered the Sunday feast lecture when this Mataji was like Radha Govinda Mataji had a lecture and she like pictured this atmosphere of Vrindavan here. So also the Kartik is coming. So the Kartik is coming, and the song we are singing is very nicely describing the Krishna's face and moves and pastimes, and it's really I can really connect with this song.
Ker sem mlad bhakta, še mislim 6 let sledim bhakti yogo, drugače se ne znam pomagati, prosto razumela v teh občutkih in po videzu, kakšen ne bi bil Krišna, da bi se mi bolj dotaknil v srce.
So I'm still like a young devotee, 5-6 years, and I really can connect with such songs, and I get some feelings maybe in this way when I.
Yes. I mean, Srila Gaur Govinda Maharaj, how many of you met him personally? You, Prabhu? Yes. So, Gaur Govinda Maharaj used to say, I opened a crying school in Bhuvaneshwar. In other words, that's our school. In other words, we are here to learn how to cry. Also to laugh, but mainly crying, because crying means separation. So in this world we should cry more than laugh. I mean, no, we should laugh in general, but when we focus on Krishna, we should cry. So he was saying, I opened a crying school. So ideally, see, when we went to school, many things we were not, I don't know about you, but many things we were just going through mathematics, all those things, arithmetics, I know square roots. Do they teach square roots to the children in Slovenia? I'm 62-year-old. I never used square roots in my life, and I still don't know. I mean, I know the definition of square root, but I don't know why they teach that to children. I mean, they're not all going to become mathematicians or engineers, architects. So I'm still puzzled after so many years why they teach us square roots. No, and so many other things. So many other things are important. Grammar, you have to talk, you need to write. Geography, you have to know where you live. I was Vishnupriya, the daughter of Abhinandan Nitai Prabhu. She was telling us in the car, they force us to learn all the little villages of Slovenia. Well, I'll never go there and I don't care. But I don't know if they really force you to learn all the villages. Yes? All the villages. Main towns. I mean, you got to know Maribor, Celje, Lendava. But she was saying every village. Maybe now they're becoming more strict. So anyway, sorry, I tend to divert. So in school, we did many things which are kind of dry, very. It's an imposition from the government. This is the syllabus you got to go through, and okay, they're useful. At least they help you how to think. And but here we should, when we come and study the Bhagavatam, we should know that we are learning, we are studying how these great devotees have feelings, not only feelings but thoughts. We have to see how these great devotees have understandings of God. Then there are both. Sometimes it's feelings, like today we could say it's a feeling verse. They cry, they feel, if I cry is inauspicious, Krishna is traveling, so they really try to stop the crying, but they can't. The tears are coming out, so they smear it like that. So and Srila Prabhupada says, use this word, when they are smearing the tears, then their heart throbbed. How do you say throb? Teresa. So you can see that there is a lot of emotion. Nothing is happening out externally. They just stepped out of the palace, but there is so much tumultuous emotions inside, so much mental turbulence. Okay, I compare devotees to dog, but you can walk also. Is the way to go for. Thank you. Okay, yeah, you can. Okay, you identify with the analogy. Okay, yeah. So ideally we should be proactive and understand it's not just a book. Okay, we have to finish somehow. Of course, we'll never finish because when you come to 12 canto, then you start again. But we should be proactive and understand, okay, I'm learning how the devotees feel and why they feel like that, and how the devotees understand these prayers, a lot of philosophy, a lot of culture, how the devotees think and how the devotees feel. You want to say something on Prabhu? Mike.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu, for a wonderful presentation. So, regarding the topic of the emotions, how can we distinguish between, because you define material and spiritual emotions, how can we distinguish amongst two? Practical way is, because sometimes we just feel bursts of emotions and are materials and spiritual, how they are.
Well, I don't know if it's essential to distinguish. Like, for instance, say the guru comes to town, and the disciple naturally feels happy. Oh, my Guru Maharaj is coming. And then the guru steps on the steps of the temple, and the automatic door opens, and the devotees are singing. So those are, now, if we want to say, okay, are these emotion, material, or spiritual? Are they, probably they're not bhava in the sense of that sense, but they are at least good reflections of spiritual feelings, because the object have changed. Now, some of the devotees may feel, may be, we could say, they like seeing their father, seeing their well-wisher, seeing a senior, benevolent senior, and those are real feelings. But how much is mixed with, we could say, the normal sphere of emotions of the mind? I don't know. Depends also on each person. But because the object has changed, then it's still good, it's still purifying. Just like when you see a cake, I need to give analogy to my level. So when you see a cake, the devotee may feel, oh, the mercy of the Lord. Another devotee may think, oh, the taste is so nice. But still, I mean, we also chant every day, Chaturvidha, Sri Bhagavat Prasada, Chaturvidha, Sri Bhagavat Prasada. How does it go? Chaturvidha, Sri Bhagavat Prasada. Swadhana means, swadhu means you're enjoyable. So it's enjoyable. So it's not like the astronauts, they only have pills. So it's enjoyable. Now, there is a level of emotion in honoring prasada. Some may be quite mundane, just the tongue, just the tongue, like the greed for the food is food, And some advanced devotee will actually appreciate that, yes, this is Krishna's mercy, and I appreciate the cow that gave this milk, and I appreciate the bull which sowed the land, and I appreciate the cooks. The cooks with devotion, with a sense of duty. It's their sadhana to cook. So it's like there is a whole universal form inside that food. You can see these trees are the hairs on the body of Krishna. So there are but even if you just see the cake and you think, wow, I'm going to eat 6 slices, it's some emotion. It's not very advanced, but at least the object has changed. And because it's 9 o'clock, I think it's the time to practice these teachings. Grantara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
His Grace Kaunteya Prabhu ki jai.